Hey guys, it's Sam, and today I want to talk about my TBR for this month-long Do-The-Thing-a-Thon. So at the end of last month, I asked on Twitter about some readathons that were coming up because I am just feeling super unmotivated to read. I've been slumpy for the last handful of months. I mean, I've still been reading, but not at the rate that I would have liked to be, and I just can't snap out of it. And someone commented about the Do-The-Thing-a-Thon, which was created by Frolic and Fiction, and I actually follow them, so as soon as that was said, I looked through my subscriptions and I'm like, yeah, I just happened to miss this video. So I watched it, and basically this is a super easy readathon because it's basically just to do the thing. There are no concrete challenges. It's basically like, look at what your reading goals have been for either the month, the year, half of the year, whatever, and do those things, especially if they're goals that you've been neglecting or just haven't gotten around to yet. What are you protesting exactly? You can't see anything from where you're sitting, so I'm not really sure what you think you're protesting right now. Tally protest. You look very concerned. Anyway, especially with the first half of the year almost being done, oh my god. It's a good time to reflect on what your goals are, get some of those things done, and I definitely needed to kick in the butt because a lot of my reading goals I have not done. Most of my reading goals are centered around finishing up series, continuing with different series, and I set a couple of goals around certain books I wanted to read to continue on or finish up with series, so that is what I'm going to focus on. With the rate that I've been reading, will I get through all of these? I don't know. I have 4 potentials, 3 that I'm seriously aiming for, also knowing that it's already the 8th. I have 2 other book commitments that I need to get to. One is my Patreon book pick for this month, which is not one of the books on this list, and one is my House Alt Book Club pick, which is not on this list. So let's see what we can do with these books. So the first book I'm going to try to read is Night's Shadow by Sebastian de Castell. This is the second book in the Great Coat series, which is a not quite epic, but like a low fantasy, I think it's a quartet adult fantasy series that is very much sort of like Three Musketeers-ish. And I actually started this book on audio last month, so I just need to be better about listening to my audiobook. Sometimes I just forget to bring my headphones. I've actually started playing a lot of Stardew Valley, and I really should be listening to an audiobook while playing that because you don't really need to listen to anything. So I'm trying to get better about that, but this is what I'm hoping to finish up this month since I have already started on audio. And I really enjoyed the audiobook, although I do have this book in physical copy. I like the audiobooks. Next is Deck of Omens by Christine Lynn Herman. This is the second book in a YA contemporary paranormal-ish series. It's a duology. This is the last book, so I would be finishing up this series. The first book was The Devouring Grey, and I enjoy this, but I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the second book, and so I'm actually going to get it from my library. This series is about, I think there's like 4 founding families, and it's the teens from these families, and they each have different kinds of like, kind of cool powers, kind of eerie. There's this dark forest that is sort of sentient and like holding off the things in the forest and all that, and basically everyone, I mean, not all of them, but the majority of the characters in this series are bi, and they're all just like disaster bis, so I really appreciate that. So I just want to finish this up, see how it is. I read the first book and really enjoyed it. The second book seems to be kind of polarizing, library read for sure, and it's also shorter than most of the other books on this list. Which, speaking of, the next book that I'm going to try to read, I'm just like, I'm doubting my success already, is Rise of Empire by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the second book in the Ryria Revelation series, and this again is another, like, I think it's more like low fantasy adult series, and this follows Royce and Hadrian, who are 2 like master thieves, and they get into a lot of pulled into a lot of shit. They got pulled into a lot of shit in the first book, and now they're just continuing on that path. They've been pulled into a lot of like the grander world machination stuff, and I just really enjoy them. And this is just fun because it's very classic. Like, there's dwarves and there's wizards and there's elves, and like it's just that, you know, which is just kind of fun. So these, even though they're bigger, are kind of quick reads for me, so I'm hoping that this one's gonna be a little bit easier than the other ones, because again, the other books that I picked are fairly chunky, and some of the other books that I have to read for my other commitments are also chunky. And the last book, which is lower on the list, if I don't get to it this month, I'm not gonna be super upset. I'm not gonna be upset if I don't get to any of these, but I'm really gonna try. And that is Lightbringer by Claire Legrand. This is the final book in the Imperium trilogy, which is a YA fantasy trilogy following 2 different characters separated by a millennia, but their stories are somehow connected, and really enjoy it. It's kind of dark at times, has really interesting main character with villain dynamics, which you know I love, and just a lot of really cool and fun characters and interesting like magic and stuff. So this is the final book that's been out since I think last summer or fall, potentially. I've heard like barely anything about it, and I want to finish the series really bad. So I'm hoping to get to this, but if I don't this month, fine. But I'm hoping, telling all of you on camera that I'm trying to read all of these larger books will get my butt in gear to actually make the time to read the things, to do the thing, because I have not been prioritizing reading at all. And I would like to, because I have a lot of books that I really want to read, you know, the constant reader problem. So that's what I'm doing for the Do-The-Thing-a-Thon this month. Comment below, let me know if you're participating in this readathon or any other readathon this month. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.